How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ethan Bridge. I'm host of the Social Media Marketing School podcast and the guy behind the Instagram page at The Marketing Ethan. Now, as of recording this episode, I've been posting daily content now for 177 days. It's quite a long time. And I get a lot of people asking me, how on earth have you kept it up? How do you post daily? Because content creation is a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of preparation to actually be able to post daily. Now, yes, at first I had no real strategy in place. I was all over the place. I was stressed because I didn't know what to post every single day. It would take me about 3 hours to create every single post I made. And that was just unsustainable. I had to do something about it. If I wanted this to continue for a long period of time, I couldn't go every single day spending 3 hours creating one single piece of content. So I had to sit down and think of one or two strategies that allowed me to create content daily whilst still producing a high quality level of content and providing as much value to my audience as possible. And there was a couple of strategies that I came up with and that I still use to this day. And it is those that I'm going to talk about in today's episode. But before I actually dive into those strategies, there are two things that I want to mention that you should have in place before you even start going about these strategies, because these two things are going to keep you organized and save you a hell of a lot of time. So, number one, have a content calendar. So what I do is I will sit down at the beginning of every single month and plan what I'm going to post every single day that month. That way, when I come to having to actually create my content, I know what ideas I have, I know what I have to write the copy for, and I can just go ahead and do it. It's not like I'm waking up in the morning and thinking, damn, what post am I going to make today? And I'm stressing, trying to think of something that's still going to be valuable. What I do is I will sit down on one day, brainstorm, and just come up with 30 content ideas for the whole month. I'll do that for my Instagram content and I'll do it for my podcast. Yes, my podcast is 3 days a week, Instagram and other social media platforms daily, but I can repurpose that content and post it across them all. So really, I'm only planning 30 posts and 12 podcast episodes. But I do that on one day and they go into the content calendar so that every week when I go and talk about these two strategies I mentioned, I can just look at that content calendar and go, right, this week I need to create this, and this. So it just keeps me organized and helps me understand what I need to create content for. Secondly, you need to have templates in place. The reason my content took so long to create is because one, I was creating carousels, and two, carousels take a hell of a long time to create if you are creating them from scratch every single time. I'm talking about your page numbers, your designs, everything to do with carousel creation. You need to be having templates in place because, again, it's unsustainable to come back to a carousel every single time and start from scratch. Having templates cut down the design process from that 2 to 3 hours to 20 minutes. So it allowed me to then create a week's worth of content in 3 to 4 hours opposed to 2-3 days. So templates and having a content calendar were two of the biggest time savers, two of the biggest organization hacks that I had when it comes to actually creating my content. But now you know you need to have these two things in place. I'm going to walk you through two different strategies that I've used. I've used both. Now I just use one of them, but you can sort of pick between the two, decide which one you like most and which is most sustainable for you. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight into the first strategy. Now, this first strategy is the one I use now, but some of you may not have time to do this one. Now, it is batch content creation, and this means you just sit down on one day of the week and do everything. You've already got your content ideas, so you know what you need to create. It's just going and creating the actual content for the ideas you already have in place. So Sunday is my content creation day. I am recording this podcast on a Sunday. Yes, it's going to go out on a Friday, but I'm still recording it today because today is my content creation day. I will sit down and create all of my Instagram carousels, all of the videos I'm going to post, and I'm also going to record my podcast episodes. That is just because I don't want to worry about it for the rest of the week. I want to spend the rest of my week doing tasks that are going to help grow the business, help make me more money. That is what I want to be spending the majority of my time doing. I don't want to be coming to every evening and going, oh, what do I post tomorrow? Or every morning of the day I need to post and go, what do I need to create for today? It's going to distract me. It's going to take time away from the tasks that I actually should be doing. So I'd prefer to sit down today on a Sunday and just do everything. Just dedicate a day to it. So what I will do is I will write my copy for my post. I will look at my ideas and write all the copy I need to do in a Word document, ready to then just copy and paste into my templates. Because as I said, I've got my templates in place. So I just copy and paste my text, plug them in, bang, there you go. That's the majority of the carousels completed. But then all it leaves me to do is to design my cover slide. Yes, this is going to be a little bit more time consuming because your covers are one of the most important parts of your post, because that is the bit that people are going to view first and consequently read it and think, okay, I want to consume the rest of this. But you've already got those templates in place, so you can spend the time on this headline cover. If you've got a style that you tend to stick to, then that's fine. You understand how you need to do this, and it's probably pretty quick. It takes me no longer than 5 minutes to actually design my headlines for my post and my actual covers themselves. So once you get into a certain style and know what you need to create, that is fine. But for my 5 to 7 carousels for the week, it takes me probably the majority of that time to write the copy itself, because I have to think about that. I have to think about, right, okay, how am I going to deliver this message in the most valuable way possible, in the easiest way to consume? So we'll spend a lot of time writing the copy. But when I say a lot of time, it's not actually that long, because I've been thinking about it through the week, because I know from my content calendar what content I'm going to need to produce on the weekend. So I'm just mindful throughout my week and thinking about how can I talk about that message, what's the best way I can put it across, which in turn, for when I come to actually write my copy, I've already got the idea in the head of how I'm actually going to write it down. So I do a rough draft and I'll sort of refine the message and get it into the most valuable form possible. So to write my copy for each idea probably takes me 10 to 15 minutes for each of the carousels. But that's the hardest part. That's the most time-consuming bit. I then only have to copy and paste that into my templates. That takes 5 minutes, and the headline only takes 5 minutes. So it only really takes me 25 minutes for each carousel. But when you put that all together, and let's say I'm creating 5 to 7 carousels, that's only really going to take me 2, 3, sometimes maybe 3.5 hours, depending on how complicated I get with my headline covers. But that's not a lot of time. It's really not a lot of time if you want to just sit down and crank out all your Instagram content. What else are you going to do on your weekend? You might watch Netflix. You might play on your PlayStation. I don't know what you do with your weekends, but this is my point. You've got time unless you are a family-orientated person on your weekend. So just dedicate a day where you can just sit down and really focus on your content. I'm sure you can find 3 hours somewhere. But then if you're like me and you've got other content to produce, I produce this podcast. Again, I've planned out each of my episodes. It's just a case of sitting down and actually recording it on the camera. These episodes only take 20, 25 minutes to record. And again, the same amount to edit because I only have to watch it through and cut out any mistakes I make. So it really doesn't take that much time. You've just got to sit down and do it. That's all it really is. But if you've got this strategy in place, you know that day you're going to sit down and do it. The ideas sort of just flow. When you get into the flow of it, it comes easy. It's not like you're having to think about one thing for 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, and throughout your day and week come up with these different ideas, and it's stressful because you're thinking, right, what do I need to create? You're just sitting down, you're doing it, you're not stressed because you're planning ahead. So strategy number 1, batch content creation. Pick a day and just do everything. Strategy number 2, and this is one for people that may have slightly less time. You might not have a day where you can just sit down and spend 10 hours creating content, depending on how much content you have to create. I don't spend 10 hours doing it. I spend probably 3, 4, 5, depending on how long the podcast episodes are and whether I want to actually edit them on the day as well. But some of you may just get 30, minutes to an hour a day. And that's fine because we can still implement that into a content creation strategy so that you are still creating daily content. And with this one, I've tried to do it so you're not doing it on your weekends. You can just do it on your work days, Monday to Friday. So this strategy, you're going to split up your week, and on each day, you're going to split it up and dedicate each day to a stage of the content creation process. So on the Monday, 30 minutes to an hour, this is for each day. On the Monday, you are just simply going to translate your ideas into headlines. Think of your headlines because this is a powerful part of your post. This is going to be the bit that grabs attention and consequently makes people want to read the rest of your slides. You're not designing your headline, you're just coming up with headlines for every single piece of content you create that week. For 7 pieces of content, shouldn't take you longer than 15 minutes, but that's all you need to do on day one. You're just getting that out the way so that when you come to the Tuesday, you can now take those headlines and start writing your copy for each of them. Tuesday is going to be the day where you write your copy. If you've got more time on Monday, start on Monday. But then on the Tuesday, you're going to finish that copywriting. You're going to come up with what you need to write on every single slide. Simple. That is the dedicated day for that. On the Wednesday, you're going to then simply copy and paste all of that text you've written into your templates. So now you've designed the majority of your carousel or whatever content you're creating. That way, on the Thursday, you are only left with creating your actual cover slides, designing that cover slide, taking that headline that you thought of on day one, on Monday, and then putting it into that really eye-catching headline cover slide that is going to make people want to read the rest of your post. And then on the Friday, you write your captions. You prepare your captions so that it's just simple as copy and pasting it from your notes or a Word document into the caption so that then you can just click post when you need to. But you can see how splitting it up every single day and spending 30 minutes to an hour, however much time you wanted to spend on it, you've been able to now create 7 pieces of content while spending a very little amount of time each day on each step of the content creation process. It's all about being organized. If you are organized, you can create daily content. I've created it daily for 177 days. It's not hard. At first it might be, because you're not used to it. You're not used to coming up with content ideas. You're not used to the copywriting. You're not used to the design. But as you get further and further down the line and you've practiced these things, you've refined your style, you've refined the way you write, these things just come naturally. So at first, don't panic if it's taking you a long time to create all of your posts. Just think, okay, if I keep doing this, it's going to get quicker, it's going to get higher quality, and it's going to get more valuable. So just stick at it. And if you keep practicing, what would have normally taken you 2 hours to create a post, you will cut it down to 20, 30 minutes like I have. I'm only at this stage because I have practiced. I've refined my content. I've refined my style. I improved my copywriting, and I have the strategy in place whereby I can be organized and produce daily content. It's all about practice. It's all about putting in the work, and it's all about just staying on top of things. As soon as you get disorganized, as soon as you get stressed, as soon as you stop creating and fall out of a routine, you're not going to be able to produce daily content, and you will fall off, and content quality is going to reduce as a result. So have a strategy, dedicate certain days, have templates, have a plan. Anything you can do to be more organized, do it. The more you are on top of your content creation, the easier it is going to be able to produce content daily. So that is how I produce daily content. And I hope you can now too. And that does wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed, as you can see, I'm a very new creator here on YouTube, so every little helps when it comes to smashing that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and turning on post notifications. I just wanted to mention though, this is a part of my podcast series, Social Media Marketing School, and the audio version of the podcast is the place to be. I actually released these episodes a couple of days early on the audio version of the podcast, and then a couple of days later here on YouTube. So if you want to consume this content sooner, make sure you are subscribing on the audio version. I will leave some links in the description. But if you have any questions with regards to anything I've mentioned in today's video, please just reach out to me on Instagram at @themarketingethan. Send me a DM and I will make sure I get back to you no matter what. But I just want to finish off by saying if you have made it to this point in the video, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.